Good morning, beautiful people of the world. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. Today is a bittersweet day for two reasons. And I hope you all can hear me. I try to talk over my engine. But today is a bittersweet day. Today is my 13th work year anniversary. I've been here on this job 13 years. January 21st, 2014 is when I started this job. I can't believe that I lasted 13 years. But I did. And I want to give God honor and praise. I want to give God thanks. I want to thank Him for keeping me safe for 13 years. I want to give Him praise because it was not easy doing the type of job that I had to do and the type of job that I'm doing even now. But praise be unto God, for He is good. And I am thankful and I am grateful because He has been faithful to me. And so today I celebrate 13 years of hard work, perseverance, sacrifice, tears, joy, happiness, sadness, all the things that have come with having this job. But I made it, and I thank God. Amen, somebody. Can you say amen along with me? And then today is also my uncle who recently chose to take his own life. Today, he would have been 64 years of age. And I am sad, heartbroken, devastated, angry, every emotion that you can imagine. I am that. My heart is just broken. It is just broken. Today I would have picked up the phone and called him and wished him a happy birthday. And I would have sung happy birthday on the phone to him as I have done for many, many years. For many years I have sung happy birthday to him. And it is so hard to believe that a whole life, a whole bubbly, funny life, personality is gone. He decided to leave this earth. It breaks my heart. So, part of my video is dedication to him. And I'm going to put up on here a video that I did of him sharing his life story, sharing some pictures of his life. So you will see that video here. I just can't believe that he's no longer here. I just can't believe it. You know, it's just hard to believe that he's gone, that he is truly gone. And honestly, I'm going to have to tell you all the truth. Honestly, as long as, I knew that he was gone, that he's deceased now. But as long as I didn't know that he was gone. And what I mean about that is that he's been cremated. He was cremated on Monday. And as long as I didn't know that, I was kind of still in some kind of wishing that what I knew was not true. And what is so befitting for this day is that his children have to go and pick up the remains, the ashes of him today on his 64th birthday. I ain't never understood, although I do understand, but I've never understood why people come in your life. You get to experience them, and then they're gone, and you've had them in your life for all of your life. And then they're gone, and you have to adjust to years and years and years of them being there, and now them not being here. Nobody tells you how to adjust. Nobody tells you how to live life as if you lived it before when they were here. Nobody tells you that. You have to learn how to cope and how to go on, even when you don't want to get out of bed. I celebrate him, but I'm sad for him as well. I know that he had a good life. I know that every day wasn't good. I know he had some struggles. I know he had some issues. I know he had some ups and downs, and some dark days and some good days. But I thank God for the years that I had. I thank God that I met and was privileged to be his niece for the amount of years that God allowed us to be called uncle and niece and friend and mentor and big brother. I thank God for that, because he truly, truly was my friend. And I miss him. I miss him. Whew, I miss him. So I just wanted to take a moment to give him his due diligence and to give him a happy birthday recognition. Oh, that was difficult, but I hope that I spoke it as eloquently as I possibly could. Boy. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to do a separate video of him, of his birthday. And gears a little bit and talk about something that I want to share with you all that you are going to absolutely not believe, that the audacity that people have when they know they have, or that they are, a piece of shit. So I shared with you all that weeks ago, Christopher decided that he wanted to call his sperm donor. And he came to me and he said, I've been thinking about calling him. Now, let me rewind the story back for a minute. I had shared with his auntie, which is the sperm donor sister, how Chris was having some issues, some mood swings, some depression. And this has been going on, you guys, for about 2 years now. Because come this June, it will be 2 years. So this has been going on for a while, that I have been dealing with this moody, depressed, crying, upset, angry behavior from Christopher since his mother, who did not respect me enough to talk to me first before she decided. She don't even have that type of relationship with Christopher to even say to him, your father wants to see him. That started there. I was highly pissed off about that, and I felt very disrespected. I felt disrespected because your son has done nothing, and you didn't clear it with me first. You didn't talk to me. You don't have that type of relationship with him. My mother and him, totally different. Totally different. You don't call him. You don't talk to him. You never call him and ask him just how he's doing. Only time he talks to his mother is on her birthday, Christmas, Mother's Day. That's it. He's 18. Not one time has she ever called me up and said, bring him over and let him spend the weekend with me. Not ever. And I have never in 18 years ever called her and asked her, could she babysit him? Except the one time that we all, his auntie and all of us was going somewhere, and we come to find out where we were going, the kids could have went. I ended up taking Chris. My mother wouldn't keep Chris for some reason. I don't remember what it was. Me and her got into it about something, and she wouldn't keep him. So his grandmother kept the auntie's two youngest children, who are around the same age as Chris, because his cousin and he are both getting ready to graduate from high school. They're both 18. She had him in September. I had Christopher that March. So when I asked, could he come over there and be with the kids, she said, oh, that's too many kids. It wasn't like I had 3 kids and it was going to be those 2. It was only 1 kid. She refused to keep him. I said, oh, no problem. I've never picked up the phone and asked this woman for nothing. Even when I was at my lowest low. I've never picked up the phone and asked her, could she, would she, or did she have, when it came to Christopher. So the fact that she felt comfortable enough to him, your father wants to see you. He'll be here next month. Because this was in May, this was the Friday before Mother's Day. She felt comfortable saying that. Not asking me, not talking to me, but just blurting that out. So from that day until this day, I've had to deal with all of that, and nobody gave a fuck, including her. And I told you all the story and shared the story with you all about how she cursed at me and how I have nothing else. I don't have nothing to do with her anymore. I don't call her. I used to randomly call her. Used to call her and talk to her all the time. I say nothing. I didn't wish her a Merry Christmas. I didn't say Happy New Year. I have no plans to call her on her birthday. I'm done. I wish her well. I hope that she is healthy. I loved her, and I still love her. I still love her. I still have respect for her. But I have no desire to be friends anymore with her. I make sure that Christopher call her on Christmas. Wish her a Happy New Year. I don't think he did it this year because what we were going through with my uncle. So he didn't call her. Her birthday is next month, same month as mine. At the end of the month, I have Christopher call her. I invited her to his 8th grade graduation, his birthday parties, all of that. I've sent pictures of him when he was little. I've kept her in the know about everything about Christopher. But I don't got to do that no more. Because Christopher is 18 almost. In 2 more months, he will be 18. I don't have to do any of that anymore. I don't dislike her. But I lost something for her when she cursed at me about her deadbeat nothing ass that she didn't raise son. So I shared with you all that Christopher wanted to call him. He's been talking about calling him. Now, when I called the aunt up and I told her what Chris was going through lately, about being depressed, this, that, and the other, she called her mother and told her mother. Her mother also called the other uncle, okay? And the uncle reached out to Christopher, and he called Christopher. And he talks to Christopher all the time, and Christopher told him, what he was been going through about how, he said, I'm in depressed because he said, I've been depressed for a while because of him. I don't know him. He never calls. He blah, 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 blah. So his mother told the sperm donor the story about what I had shared. She shared it with the uncle. She shared it with the sperm donor. She told the sperm donor to call Christopher. He never did. He never did. Now, what's amazing to me is that if he really, really wanted to talk to him, even though Christopher still had him on block, he could have contacted me, because yesterday the bitch sent me a text. So you could have unblocked me and said, I've been trying to reach Christopher to talk to him and I can't get through to him. Can you ask him to call me? That never happened. That never happened. So Christopher has been talking about it back and forth about calling him. So week before last, it's been about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I'm in the kitchen doing whatever I was doing. Christopher comes up. He says, should I call him? I said, yeah. He said, I was waiting on him to call me. He said, but that ain't gonna happen, so I'm gonna call him. I said, call him. So I told you all the story. If you watch, that he called him, they had a conversation. I told you how he boo-hooed on the phone. Oh, he boo-hooed on the phone. And boo-hooed and boo-hooed and boo-hooed. crying, snotting, all of that bullshit. I was highly pissed and annoyed, but I said nothing. I rolled my eyes up in the sky. I even went in my bedroom to give him privacy. I didn't stand there while they talked. Christopher kept coming back there, and I said, I want to watch TV. Because just hearing his voice was giving me, not anxiety, but it was giving me, let's go find something to put this bitch out of his fucking fat ass misery. That's what it was giving me. Right? So Chris walked out the room. He went in his room. He talking to him. I go down in the basement. I come back up. Christopher's in tears because this bitch is crying like he just lost his mama. And I didn't know how to be a father. Oh, it was very theatrical. Very theatrical. I think he had already told himself that if he talked to him, that he would cry. So now, because he's crying and carrying on so much, Christopher is in tears. And I'm just more goddamn annoyed. I got clothes in my hand coming up from the basement from washing, and I'm like, you fat funky bitch. You know what I'm saying? You fat funky motherfucker. Like, really, motherfucker? Woo! So, he went on and on and on and on to the break of dawn. Well, it wasn't to the break of dawn because we had to get up the next day to go to work and school. Okay, so let's fast forward. So Chris hadn't heard from him. So what do? I say, Christopher. I said, you know, you might still have him on block. I said, check your phone. So he went and he checked his phone and he discovered that he had him on block. Now, what I could have did was never said nothing and let it be just that, right? I could have said nothing, but because I want Christopher to be happy and not upset and not feeling no type of way, I said, go check your phone. Now, if I was the type of mother that really wanted to play the game that some women do, I didn't have to tell him shit. I could have kept making Christopher believe that he wasn't reaching back out to him. But I didn't do that. This wasn't for Anthony. Fat bitch, this wasn't for you. This was for Chris. Because he hadn't heard from you. And the reason why I'm talking to the camera, because I found out the bitch watches my YouTube channel. I told you all that he watches me. I knew that. Because he's a fucking stalker. He ain't had a woman, a good woman, a woman that looked like this. He ain't had that. He's a fucking bum, and he has had bum ass bitches, including the bitch that he married, Mary, the old ass bitch. He's had the trailer trash white bitch that pays his rent now. I told you all that he watches this channel. I knew he did, because he repeated something to me. At least I'm not on the internet. First of all, he has a first grade education. If he made it out of 8th grade, I seriously doubt it. The way he writes a sentence that makes no sense. No sense. You're 57 years old or 58. I think he'll be 58 in June. You 57. Please, you didn't get a GED. Please go back to first grade. No, bitch, go back to preschool and learn your ABCs, because you don't know how to fucking write. I know you got a kindergarten education. I know you learned nothing. You didn't get a GED. You talk like you still where you used to be, in prison. I know you watch me on YouTube because you're fascinated with me. You never got over me. That's why you never could do nothing for your son. Because I didn't want to be with you. You are the classic deadbeat nothing ass nigga that you are. You a fat bitch ass nigga. You a nothing having bottom of the barrel bitch ass nigga. Chris ain't your only child, bitch. You didn't do nothing for them. You got 2 other daughters that you were the same motherfucker that you are. But let me get back to the story. I digress. Sorry, I got off track. So I said to Chris, go check your phone. So he brings the phone to me and I said, yeah, you still have him on block, baby. I said, take him off block. Now, again, I didn't have to say nothing. Okay, I didn't have to say nothing. I knew when he said I ain't heard from him. I thought about it. I said, when do he still have him on block? See, because I don't give a fuck about Chris and Anthony having a conversation or talking. I know what the fuck I did for 18 years. You want to talk to him? Talk to him. You want to go see him? Go see him. It don't take away nothing that Sherelle has done, that Cece has done. I'm not threatened by nobody when it comes to Christopher, because I know what I did. I know what I did. Do you understand what I'm saying? Can't a motherfucker, not his mama, not his sister, his brother, the ant, the flea, the frog, the ant, the roach, tell me a motherfucking thing about me. Because I ain't never went to that family in 18 years and asked them for shit when it came to Christopher. Whatever they did or whatever they gave or whatever part of way they wanted to be in his life, I stepped the fuck back. He has spent the night at his aunt's house numerous times. She has called me. I'm taking the kids to do this weekend. Can Chris spend the night over here this weekend? Can Chris come the weekend? Sure. When you want me to drop him off? What time? Not so I could go party and boogaloo or go get me some dick. Because she wanted that time with him. His auntie is wonderful. His Uncle Julian is wonderful. His mama has been good to Christopher. I can't take away none of that. No, I don't talk to her anymore. But his birthday, she always send money. She sent him $100, or sometimes she has sent him more. Graduation, she was there. I meet people where they are. I don't know why she's not more involved with her grandchildren. That ain't for me to judge. But Christopher, on the other hand, has said, why she don't call me. I don't know. I said, but don't feel bad. She's not that involved with the rest of them either. Maybe because she had children very young and now she's older. I don't know. But what I do know is that as a mother who wanted him to know who the other side of his family was, I involved them in everything. I didn't hold Christopher back from them. Now, if they didn't want to be in Christopher's life, hey, fine. But that was not the case. His uncle birthday come up, his auntie birthday come up, call your auntie, call your grandmother, call your uncle. The other uncle is deceased, the youngest baby brother. He would have probably had a relationship with him had he lived. So, Christopher picked up the phone and called him and said, hey, he didn't tell me he had him on block. He said, yeah, he said, why haven't, I haven't heard from you. And he told Christopher that he had texted him. He said, you didn't see my text? And I had called you. Sure enough, when he unblocked him, I guess whatever text he sent, it came through. So Chris said, well, I don't think he said I may have had you on block. He said, I don't know, something was going on with my phone. He didn't want to tell him that he had him on block. Now, mind you, you guys, in the last 3 weeks that they have talked, Christopher has been kind and polite and respectful. I have told Christopher, I said, you cannot cuss him out and you cannot disrespect him. I said, you can talk to him in a way that you make him understand how you feel. I said, but he is still an adult. And I have not taught you to disrespect adults. You're still technically a child. Okay? I said, he's your biological father and he's an adult. I said, the Bible says to honor your mother and your father so that your days will be long. And it also says, fathers, do not provoke your children. But I told him to respect him for those 2 reasons, and them 2 reasons only. Not because he been this great father, because he ain't been no father, okay? But that is what you are to do at this particular time right now in your life. Now, when you become a man, and you want to call him up and you want to use some choice words because you are a man and you want to talk to him man to man, you do that. I said, but right now, you are a child and you stay in a child's place. I have not taught Christopher to disrespect anybody. When them teachers have come at him, I tell him, you come home and you talk to me. That ain't your place. You stay in a child's place. If you feel that an adult is doing you wrong, you come and tell me. I will handle it. I will take care of it. But don't you take care of it, because you ain't there yet. That's why you got me. And that's the way I've raised him. So since the time he was a little boy up until now, when he don't like something that somebody do at that school, I take care of it. They know who I am. Everybody at Butler College got my goddamn number. Miss Cotton, what's up? What he doing? I don't play that bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? I don't play you disrespecting adults. Because you ain't gonna disrespect me, so you're damn for sure ain't finna go out here in the world and disrespect another adult, because you can't do it here at home. We don't have them problems. Christopher knew I will knock his teeth down his motherfucking throat, and I've told him that. You're not gonna live up in my house and disrespect me. I will put you the fuck out. I've had to tell him that too. You want to get up in your body with me? I'll get up in my body with you. Don't fucking play with me. So I told him, this is how you're going to talk to him. I know you're mad. I know you're angry. I know you hurt. I know you all of the things. But that is not how you talk to somebody. I said, I'm telling you, you're dealing with a narcissist, nutcase, ignorant ass motherfucker who is abusive. He has no problem putting his hands on anybody. That's why he did time in prison for armed robbery. Well, no, it was a car theft or whatever the fuck he went to jail for. I don't care. I don't think he stuck nobody up. He didn't kill nobody, but he went to jail for violation of probation. He went to jail for he used to steal cars, all of that. Whatever he used to do. I don't know. Really know what the fuck he went to jail. But he did some time. Not once, twice, maybe 3 times. They should have kept that bitch in there. So now, he living this life of he's saved, he's a Christian. He's not. He don't even know nothing about God. But Christopher called him up and he said, Chris, I have been calling you. And so Chris said what he said. So in the midst of all of their conversations, what I realized from the conversations that I heard was that Anthony wanted to always talk over Chris. He wanted to tell Chris about his life. He did tell Chris how he went to jail, how he went to prison. And, he was telling Christopher, don't ever, don't disrespect your mama. Your mama is the queen. All of this bullshit, right? I was the queen. I was this. I was that. I was all these wonderful things until yesterday. So, he had asked Christopher from the first conversation, was there anything that Chris wanted to say? And Chris said that, no, he just wanted to listen to Anthony. The next time they talked, he told Anthony that he was nervous to talk to him. Now, let me tell you why he was nervous to talk to him. Because at 13, when Christopher challenged him and said some things to him about, you supposed to be the parent, you haven't did this, you haven't did that, he threatened to come to Chicago and kick Chris' ass. And went on to tell Chris about how he had been in the gang and he was a GD and he would get up with him. This is what he said to a 13-year-old. So Chris has had trauma from that. This is why when he was going to meet him in June, he said to me, Christopher said to me, I don't want to go upstairs to Miss Griffin's apartment and be around everybody and meet him. He said, I want you to be there. But if he can just come down. Now it's in June, so it's warm. He said, if he could just come down and we could talk outside. What did this bitch do? This is why the mama cussed at me. Because he switched that around and went and told the mama, oh, Chris said he don't. Now, mind you, we had just been there on Mother's Day. We had just been up in her apartment. So why she believed this funky bullshit from him, I don't know. Okay? But he goes and tell her, yeah, Chris said he don't want to come up in your apartment and he don't feel comfortable coming up here. And because I told him that. I said, Chris said, if you can come down. First of all, everything needs to be on Chris' terms. Here's why everything needs to be on Chris' terms. Because Chris is the one who hasn't had a functioning relationship with a father. So whatever way Christopher wanted to do it, if he wanted us to open up the sewer and go down in the hole, that's what should have been done. Because this ain't about me and fat, funky bitch. It wasn't about you. It wasn't about your mama or nobody else. It was about the two of you. Now, mind you, when the mother told him this recently, what was going on with Chris, she told him, call Christopher. He never called Christopher. Because he never said, yeah, I've been trying to call you from that time. He only had been trying to call him after Christopher called him. Mind you, when Christopher was 13, he made the initial contact then. Twice, Christopher has made the initial contact. 13, 17. Stick with me. So, Christopher has tried to ask him things, and this is what he has said. Well, Chris, we're not going to go back in the past. No. It's imperative that you all go back in the past so he can understand. But he cannot, and I told you all this a couple of weeks ago, he cannot, Anthony, you cannot take accountability for what you have not done. See, I have told you all and talked to you all about accountability. See, accountability is when you got to sit in your shit. Not mask it, not deflect it, not put the blame on somebody else, but take accountability for what you did not fucking do. He had his mama, his sister, his daughter, his brother. He had 4 to 5 people. My mama's address is the same. I lived at that apartment for 19 years. That nigga didn't send a card with $5 fucking in it. Christopher has received more from strangers than he has the bitch who helped create him to come here to this world. 17 fucking years he's missed every goddamn birthday. Let me explain something to you. You may not have known how to be a father, but when you say you love somebody, you make the effort to do whatever. And sending a motherfucking card, bitch, you a motherfucking lie. So this is what this fat, funky, lazy, no job, big fat warriors, bitch, prison having, nothing having motherfucker nigga did. He turned the shit around, and what did he do? Put it on me. Bitch, I ain't never tried to stop you from seeing your son. You couldn't, when you couldn't get your fucking way and you couldn't fuck me no more, you didn't want to have nothing to do with your son. Tell the truth. So, Christopher would ask him things, say things to him. Like, where you been? Blah, 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 blah. Now, he sent Christopher all these baby pictures of Christopher. I've never sent Anthony a baby picture of Christopher. But the white trash, trailer trash bitch that he, uses and then beat her ass so many times, and this bitch still pay his rent. He told Chris, I got me a little place. Yeah, you ain't paying none of that rent. She is. So Tammy, I hope you watching this video too. So Tammy decided that she was going to go on my Facebook page and take pictures off of my Facebook page. You go on Facebook and you post pictures. All you got to do is click on the picture and hit save photo. So she took not all pictures of him when he was a little baby, when he was in the bathtub. Pictures, different pictures that I know for a motherfucking fact that I ain't never sent to his mama. Now, there was a professional picture that I had, pictures taken of Christopher when he was a baby. I sent about 4 or 5 of those pictures to his mom. And she pissed me off then when she told me that she sent him the pictures. When we went to child support court, this motherfucker tells me in child support court, he flashes like, look, yeah, you gonna try to keep me from him, blah, 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 blah. But and so when I saw that he had the pictures, I was mad. You have the audacity. See, she's pissed me off so many times. And I've said nothing. I've said nothing, right? She took my pictures that I paid for and she sent them to him. Now, we had a discussion about that. She and I had a discussion about that. And I think I told her about that. And she told me the reason why she sent them, because she was trying to make him see what he was missing out on. But I told her what he did in court. And when I told her that pissed her off. And I do remember her calling him up and going off on him about that. Well, guess what? I never sent another picture. I never sent any more pictures to her. I was done. So, because I sent no pictures, no updated pictures, Tammy, Trailer Park, bitch, went on my Facebook page. And she stalked my Facebook page. And then she stalked my mama's page. And then she stalked my sister's page. And then she stalked his sister, the auntie's page. So he had the audacity. This is how I tell you how dumb he is. He had the audacity to send pictures of Christopher when he was young, when he was a baby and all of that. He sent the pictures. He sent the pictures to Christopher. Now, that's not the first time he's done that. So Christopher said to me, he said, here he go. He said, here he go, sending pictures of me when I was a baby. So Christopher showed them to me. So I went to my Facebook page and I pulled the same exact fucking pictures up that he sent him. So Christopher was able to figure it out. He says, are you Facebook friends with him? I said, no, sir. He said, well, how did he get these pictures? I said, his girlfriend stole them off of my page. So Chris is like, He says, so why is he sending the pictures to me? I said, he's sending the pictures to you as a way of saying, you know, and he had them all in a frame, as a way of saying, you know, I've known about you, right? And I've got pictures of you, and I'm sending them to you to let you know that I got them in frames, that I'm thinking about you and all this and all that. So Chris, you know, was like, so anyway, Anthony sent Christopher some recent pictures of him. This is what's interesting to me. When people want to call you fat, his motherfucking face is this big. When I met him, he was very, very thin. So was I. He's fat. I know why I'm fat. I know why I've gained weight. Okay? Age, menopause, and not eating healthy. He's fat from sitting on his funky ass. He don't have a job. See, it's two different fats. It's fat from eating, it's fat from sitting on your ass, not ever working. Never got a job nowhere. The job that he had, every job he has had, fired. Motherfucker was working at a car wash, couldn't even keep that job, fired. He ran down to Kentucky to be with the brother, the youngest brother. He ran to Kentucky after Mary, the old bitch wife, put him the fuck out. Everywhere he's gone, he's put the fuck out. Everywhere. Like I told her on the phone when she called me up when I was pregnant with Chris. My husband, I said, call me in 6 months. I said, because you getting ready to go for a ride, bitch. He whooped her ass too. That's all he do. He got down to Kentucky. He met Tammy. He whooped Tammy's ass. He loved whooping women's asses. He pulled out a machete this long that I didn't even know was in my apartment and told me how he would cut me up into little bitty pieces. I got the fuck out of there. I had more bruises on my body than the law allowed. He's choked me. He slapped me. He's jumped on me several times. And then he threatened to fucking kill me with that fucking machete when I was pregnant with his child. Because he wanted to take my car. He has stole my car several times, took my car without my knowledge. He's a drunk, he's a weed head, and he's fucking bipolar. And this is why I say I will never live with another man. Another man can't come up in my shit. But this was the funny thing throughout the whole thing. So when Christopher, just tried to talk to him and say things to him about this, that, or whatever, he's always over talking him. He's always, we're not going to go back in the past. We're not going to go back in the past. Because, see, he don't want to deal with what him not being there. So when I knew Chris was getting to the point where he would want to ask him questions. So yesterday, I walk in to my mama's house. And I hear Chris on the phone. I don't know who Chris is talking to. Okay? I wasn't even at home yet. I walk in and I hear Christopher saying, why I heard him say something like, why have you not been there for me? You've missed all of my birthdays. So I come in the door and I hear this, right? So now my antennas then went up. I'm like, who is he talking to? So I stand at the bottom of the steps and I listen. And so then he says he's got Anthony on speaker. And Anthony is deflecting. Well, Chris, we're not going to go back in the past. This is all he say. Instead of listening, we're not going to go back in the past. No, bitch, you want to start from here. You want to be a parent from here after everything has been done. So Chris said, no, I need to know the reasons why you have not done this, that, and the other. He said, and so of course, Anthony said, well, I wasn't allowed. And Christopher said, what do you mean you wasn't allowed? He said, well, I don't want to talk about your mother, but your mother kept me out of your life. A lie. Then when Chris asked him, he said, well, what about when I had heart surgery? He said, my mother told me that she told you to send me a get well card. He said, you never sent it. He said, like you never sent a birthday card. He said, I didn't even know nothing about your heart surgery. And I was pissed off about that. Another lie. Now, the truth is, yeah, I didn't call you up and tell you that he was having heart surgery. Why would I call a man up and tell him that a child is having heart surgery and he's not in a child's life? Your mother knew. Your sister knew. But what I did do was I called him after the surgery was over. Christopher had the surgery on a Friday, I think, or Thursday in 2018 or either 2019. It was right before the pandemic. So Christopher was 11 years old when he had the surgery. So when Christopher had the surgery, he had to stay with my mom because he couldn't climb the 3 flights of stairs at my house, because the way that they did the surgery, they had to go through the groin, his leg, and go in, right? So they said he could not do any stairs, that he needed to not climb any stairs for 1 week. So he stayed with my mother. And my mother has a bathroom upstairs, so everything he needed was upstairs. Even though his little butt did come down them steps. I remember one day, I said, why are you down here? I'm fine. Okay. So, That was, I think I called him that Monday, as I had went back to work, and I called him. So he knew about the heart surgery. He told Chris he didn't know about the heart surgery for 6 months after he had the surgery. That's a lie. It was 4 days after he had had the surgery, I called him. I have the texts in my phone, but I called him. And I said, send Chris a card and say, a get well card. Well, and this came from his own mother. No card ever came. So I sent him a text. I said, hey, what happened to the card that you were supposed to send Chris? Now, it had been 2 weeks after. Now, when Christopher had the heart surgery, he was here in Chicago. He came a couple of days after that. He wanted me to bring a child. Now, mind you, his mother lived on the 3rd floor too. He wanted me to bring a child who had just had a heart procedure, a serious heart procedure that he could have died from. He wanted me to bring him over there to his mama's house. I said, Anthony, he cannot climb stairs. Well, I'll come down to the car and carry him up. No, you won't. No, you won't. I said, he's still recovering. Well, I want to see him. I want to see him. I cannot tell you all the countless times that Anthony has come to Chicago. He's made no provisions to see Christopher. We live in the same city. His mama is here. His sister's here. We live in the same city. His sister and I live, it takes me 5 minutes to get to her house from my house. Maybe 10. His mama, about 15 minutes. So he's been in this city several times to come here and bullshit, do whatever he wanted to do. That's his life. That's his prerogative. But never picked up the phone and said, can you bring Chris to my mama's house? So he did. So this is what his mother told me. See, go talk to your mama. See, go talk to your mama. So his mother tells me that they're in the store, and she said, go, you gonna go look for Chris a card? I can't find one that I want to send. So when I texted him and asked him, where is the card? Oh, he told me that I was trying to be in control, did all this. The card never came. So he tells Chris on the phone last night that he didn't know about his heart surgery for 6 months after it happened, and he was pissed off about that. Nobody called him up and told him about the surgery. Lie. A lie. So Chris said, you did know, and you didn't want to send me a card. No, that's not true. That's not true. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So then he lies. And Christopher said, last summer, he said, or summer before last, he said, what happened? He said, I asked you this before. He said, and you went all around and didn't tell me whatever. He said, I was really excited to see you. Well, like I said, Christopher, I came into town. Here's another lie. I came into town and your mother called me on that Friday. You had been here a whole week. Now, he was here from the 19th of June to after 4th of July, like the 6th or the 7th. And we was going to set up a date. But because I didn't call her, which you lied because you told me that you was going to call me when you got here. He was coming here by train or bus or whatever. I don't give a fuck if he crawled here. That when you got here on that Monday, you were going to call me. I never got a phone call. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. No phone call. Friday, I called him. I said, hey, are you here? Yeah, I've been here. First of all, I texted him. I called 2 times. He didn't answer. So then I texted him. It took him hours to answer me. When he finally did answer me, this bitch said, I've been here since Monday. I said, but it's Friday and I had to reach out to you. I said, so what happened? When I've been, Shabelle, I've been hanging out, blah, blah, blah. He went at his mama's house. He was with his girlfriend. I don't give a fuck if you stuck your dick in the hole of a tree. I don't care what you're doing, bitch. You told me you were going to call me that Monday when you got here. Here was the plan. He wanted to call me, and then he wanted me to put Christopher on the phone so he could talk to him and say, hey, son, blah, 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 blah. It's so ironic how he calls him son and all this, and you ain't been a father. But I digress. So I went along with that. I said, okay, we can do that, right? That phone call never came. I said, it's Friday, and I had to call you. I said, what happened to you calling me Monday? Well, you know. So I got pissed off. I said, don't worry about it. I said, obviously, he ain't that important to you. What's important to you is what you've been doing. I said, so continue to do it. And I said some other choice words to him, and I said, I ain't said nothing up with you. I said, because you ain't serious. Because, see, a person that's serious about being in a child's life, he would have called me that Monday like he said. But he didn't. So yesterday, Christopher said all these things to him. And Christopher said, you know what? This ain't going to work between me and you. He said, this ain't going to work. Now, I'm standing down at the bottom of the steps, right? He said, this ain't going to work between me and you. He said, we're not going to be able to have a relationship. And then he asked Christopher asked Anthony, do you love me? Do you really love me? Or are you just saying that because that's just something to say? He said, but do you really love me? He said, you've missed all of my birthdays. He said, you've missed all of my life. First of all, to think you can come back and unpack 18 years is really unrealistic, first of all. But if you had took accountability and sat in your shit and let Christopher get it all out and say, you're right. Let Christopher get it all out, because he's the one that has went without a father. He's the one. Not me, not your fat funky ass. Him. So, last week, Chris had been telling me that he wanted to call him up and say some things to him. I said, listen, do what make you feel better. Okay? Because, see, since summer before last, when Anthony told his mama to tell Christopher that he was coming, I'm the motherfucker who been beat up. I'm the one who had to put him back together, put his heart back together. I got to put his heart back together now. So Christopher told him that this wasn't going to work. He said, you don't really love me. He said, I think you just say that just to be saying something. He said, but you keep saying, he said, and then Chris asked him, he said, am I really your son? And I was glad that Christopher said that, because this is the same motherfucker who said that Chris wasn't his son and made the court do a DNA test. I had to take Christopher downtown when he was a newborn, like 3 or 4 months old, and get a DNA test, because he was trying to hold up the proceedings of the child support. So when Chris said, am I really your son? I was so glad. And I've never told Christopher about how he made me take a DNA test. But I was glad he said that, because, see, Karma is a bitch. And she got a funky ass attitude. So he threw back up in his face the same goddamn thing that he said when he said Chris was not his. So now you got a child asking you, Am I really your son? Christopher never cursed at him. He never called him out his name. He didn't do any of that. So Anthony said, yeah, you my son. He said, I love you. He said, no, you don't. Now I'm still standing at the bottom of the steps. Chris don't know I'm at the bottom of the steps, right? He said, you don't love me. You don't love me. He said, and I know that you're lying to me about the heart surgery. Not only did he lie about that, he lied about he wasn't allowed to see him. Anthony and I met every Friday at a Burger King restaurant around the corner from my apartment. Every Friday. We did that for about 2 weeks. We did that for about 2 weeks. And when Anthony said to me, how come I can't come see him in your apartment? I said, you will never be allowed in my apartment. We can meet here or anywhere else, but you will not step your foot up in my apartment. When I said that, the bitch never, ever called me again to see his child again. And Christopher was about 3. And I do recall having some other photographs of Christopher that I had that I gave him when we met. He brought Christopher a little toy gun. It was like a little Nerf gun. And Christopher said he said he faintly remembers that. I even took pictures of him and Christopher sitting on his lap, them playing together. I took pictures and sent him the pictures through text. You know how you can send pictures through text and stuff like that, like we do now. That's what I did. So those pictures I took. And then I gave him some pictures. But I know the ones that I gave him. And I know the ones that were swiped and saved off of my Facebook page from the white girlfriend. And I should stop calling her the white girlfriend. I should call her the trailer trash girlfriend. He ain't had nothing with no class since I left him, since I put him out. So Christopher and him, they go back and forth on the phone yesterday. Christopher was like, and then Christopher said something, and he told Christopher, don't cut me off. Let me talk. Bitch, you been talking. That's the motherfucking problem. Christopher hasn't been talking. You've been talking. So I hear Kim say that to Christopher. And Christopher said, and he said, well, you know what? If you didn't fight for him, he didn't fight for him. See, if you really wanted him in your life, you really wanted what you say you wanted, you would have shut the fuck up. And you would have just listened. And you would have said, Chris, you are right. Everything you saying is right. But I'm going to do whatever it takes to be in your life and have a relationship with you. That's not what he said. You know what he said? Well, you know, your daddy loves you. Your daddy loves you. And ain't nothing gonna change about that. But if that's how you feel, and I'm sorry you feel that way. You don't tell a person you sorry you feel that way. What you say to a person is, I know I've made you feel this way. I know I did this and I didn't do that. And I know why you're angry. I know that you're upset with me. You're right. But no, he tucked his tail between his funky ass, fat ass, funky ass cheeks, and he hung up. See, because these are things that Chris been wanting to say to him, what he been wanting to ask him, and he still respected him. So after they got off the phone, Chris sends him a text. And he comes back there and he says, this is what I sent him in a text. And when I tell you, I was so proud of my son, he did not curse. He did not call him out his name. He told him, he said, Anthony, I will never, ever call you again. He said to him, he said, I have done good without you in my life. He said, my mother has been a great mother to me. He said, I have told you before not to bring my mother up. He said, I have told you before to not say anything in regards to my mother of why you have not been in my life. He said, but I am going to be a good man. Whew. He said, but I'm going to be a good man. He said, and I'm going to be different with my children. He said, I will never do my kids the way that you did me. And he said some other things to him. And it was profound. I didn't write it. He wrote it. After he sent the text, he told me, he said, I'm done. He said, I got what I needed and I said what I needed to say. So about 35 minutes went past, and then I got a text from the fat, funky, wide-faced, big lip, Warris head bitch. He texts me. Now, I thought that I had him blocked, but I remember he had blocked me when the last time when he was supposed to be here and we got into it. But why are you texting me? Nigga, why are you texting me? He texts me and says, well, Miss Cotton, I hope you proud. You've outdone yourself. I hope you proud of yourself. You put negative thoughts in our son's head and turned him against me. If I had turned Christopher against you, bitch, you would have never got through. You would have never got through. Because I would have kept your motherfucking ass on block for life. And after Christopher sent that text message, he said, I'm blocking him. I'm done. He said, I don't have to see him. I don't have to talk to him no more. He said, I'm good. He said, I'm finally good. He said, I'm healed. That's what Chris said. So he sends me a text and tell me that. I sent him a text back. I said, I didn't cuss him out. I said, blaming me is not going to make the situation go away. I said, I know that you have to find somebody to blame because you cannot take accountability, and you've never taken accountability for you being who you are. And then that's when he told me he had to be insulting some kind of way, right? So he came back and said, well, at least I ain't on the internet showing my fat or something. Whatever what he said, it made no sense. It made no sense. I will put in the community tab the texts that he sent me, so you all can see how this bitch don't know how to write or spell. So remember I told you all, I said, I know he watches my YouTube channel. Now, how he found out I have a YouTube channel, who knows? His mother, I'm sure his mother told him. She tells him everything. And she probably told him because Nina, his sister, knows that I have a YouTube channel. Because my mother said, how does he even know about that? I said, because they told him. So I know that he's gone to my YouTube channel and watched my videos. Thank you. Thank you. You know what I told him? I said, I know you got to go watch me on the big screen because you ain't never had nothing this good ever again in life. I said, I know you miss me, but you will never get me again. And that's the whole problem with this whole thing. See, what you have to realize, men are just like women. You have men who do the same thing women do. Women have a baby. The man don't want them no more. They play this game. You can't see the baby no more because you don't want me. Men do the same thing. Same thing. That's why he ain't did nothing for Christopher in 18 years, because I didn't want him. I'm not trying to blow my own horn or put myself way up there, but I'm going to tell you all, I'm a dynamic woman, and I know I am. And what I also know about me is I know that I'm smart, I'm ambitious, I'm goal driven, I'm pretty, I'm sexy, I'm all that. And I said to him, I said, I'm a lot of things, motherfucker, but I ain't you. I'm a good woman, I'm a good mother, I'm a good friend, I'm a good person. I have my flaws, I have my ups and downs. I'm not perfect. I mess up and I fuck up. But you know what I've learned? At 55, almost 56 next month, God willing, I have learned to take accountability for what I do and for what I say. I know how to say I'm sorry. I know how to say I love you. I know how to say I'm sorry and I love you and mean it. So, I'm a lot of things. I'm a lot of things. But one thing I'm not your motherfucking ass. And the fact that I'm not you, Anthony, I'm winning. I'm winning. And I told him, I said, I got a great son. You said for years, he gonna be a thug. Said it before he was even born. He gonna be a thug. He gonna be what man says that about their child, that they want their child, a black boy that lives in the inner city of Chicago, where black boys from the ages of 9 to 21 are being killed in this city. Slain like dogs on the streets of this city. What man wishes that upon a black boy? And everything your fat funky ass said about Christopher, he ain't none of that. I know you thought he was gonna be another you. But see, let me say this to you. He didn't have the same mama. Let that marinate. Let me put the powder on. He didn't have the same mama. Run and tell that. See, my name ain't your mama's name. My name is my name. And what I did and how I did it wasn't the same what you got. You say you been raised. You say your mama was this. You say your mama was that. Well, you are a poor fucking representation to represent what you said your mother was. Because if your mother was all the things that you said that she was, then that says a whole lot about who you are. I wasn't there when she had you. I wasn't there, but I know what you turned out to be. A nothing. So somebody fucked up. I don't know if it was you or her or your old ass daddy. I don't know. But somebody fucked up. So don't ever contact me telling me anything about me, motherfucker. Because, see, we ain't cut from the same cloth at all. So, you know, we went back and forth for a minute in the Texas. I didn't cuss him out, but like I told him, he told me that I'm a sick person. I said, well, and then when I said about Christopher, I said, you know, how Christopher went in a gang and this, that, and the other. He gonna tell me, good job, Miss Cotton. Yeah, I know. But I don't need you to tell me, good job. I don't need you to tell me, good job. I know I did a good job. But what's so interesting to me is what's so interesting to me is that this is the shit that you wanted him to be. You wanted him to be all the things that you said he would be. And he ain't. I rebuked that when I was pregnant with him. I prayed and said, Lord, do not let my child come out and be like this. I know who I laid with, and I know the consequences of my actions. But I prayed over Christopher when Christopher was in the womb. I laid hands on my own belly and prayed, especially when I found out I was having a boy. I prayed over his life. I rebuked that demon. Christopher is such a good kid. He's not a perfect kid, but he's a good kid. He's not giving me one day of problems where I had to go find him, not know where he was. I told him when he was young, when he was a little boy. See, I've been pouring stuff into Christopher since he was a little boy. And I told him, if you want to be in a gang, if you want to do this, that, and the third, you got to go. I will not be up at night worried about you. I will not be walking the streets of Chicago trying to find you. I will not. I be damn. Here come this damn snow. I tell you. Wonder how long this gonna do this. They said we weren't gonna get no snow, and Lord and behold, it's starting to snow. I feel like we live in Minnesota and Chicago had the worst weather. So, you know, he said all of these things and all of this and all of that. So the moral of the story is they're done. They're done. And I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. I am glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that they are done. And I told Christopher last night, I said, please, please leave him be. Please. Don't backtrack. Put his ass on block and leave him the fuck alone. I said, I've told you this over and over again. You are better off without this bitch. But see, nothing that I've told Chris or whatever, he had to learn it on his head to see it for himself. And when he came down the steps, he had tears in his eyes. And he said, I said, I stood down here and heard everything. And I said, and I didn't interrupt you or say nothing. And he told me, he said, you know, he said, he's a liar. He said, he's a liar. I said, yeah. He said, because I know that you told him about that, about sending me that card. So I asked him, I said, Chris, I can prove it to you. I said, you want me to pull the texts up? Because I got the receipts. He said, no, you don't have to do that. He said, I believe you. He said, but I'm done. He said, I'm done with him. He said, I ain't got nothing else to say to him. I thought that was a rat, but that's a squirrel. So he said, and I didn't bring my boots. He said, I'm done with him. I said, okay. I said, I hope you mean it. And I'll tell his sister that. I'll tell his mama that. I hope you mean it. You know, if he had said to Christopher, you know, you're right, and if he had stood in that, I wouldn't have said, I would have encouraged him to continue to talk to him. But he didn't do that. So that's what happened. So it's over. It's over. And I'm glad that it's over. I'm glad that it's over for Christopher. And like I said, why he contacted me, I ain't got shit to do with it. I ain't got nothing to do with it. This between you and Chris. Why you contacting me? So I told him about himself. I said, oh, what happened to the... I said, did you get a lump sum of money from your disability? I said, did your mother tell you to send Christopher some money? I said, did you send it? No, you didn't send it. You know why you didn't send it? Because you told your mother that I put you on child support. Something that you've never paid. I pulled out a lot of points. I told him, I said, you lazy. I said, you pitiful. You pathetic. So I'm glad it's over, because first of all, you had no business picking up the phone, texting me anything. That's between you and Chris. That's between you and Chris. I ain't text you. When I had to go through all I've been through with him, I ain't text you. I ain't text you. Why are you texting me? I ain't text you when all the stuff that I've been dealing with him. I ain't text you. So why are you texting me? Anyway, y'all, I gotta go. I gotta go punch in. I got to go punch in, y'all. This snow is coming down. So I'm gonna let you all go. You all have a fantabulous day. I'm gonna put up the video of my uncle, and I will see you all tomorrow. All right, sorry the video was so long, but y'all know I can run my mouth. And to Anthony, thank you so very, very much for watching my videos. Please tune in. I told you that I was going to talk about you here on YouTube today. So what I said is what I meant. Please make sure you share it with your mother. Okay? And the rest of your family. God bless you. Have a wonderful life without your son in it. Anyway, you all, have a great and wonderful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. All right? Peace.